We are huge fans of Tony Robbins, all things Tony Robbins, and we listen to your video. It comes up for us because we see everything Tony Robbins, and we were curious as to some of the stuff that you had said in regards to the battlefield of life, and using authenticity as your weapon.
Yep, the weapon of authenticity.
Weapon of choice. And so I'm going to fix this post real quick, Eric, if you want to help us get this started.
So, for anybody that's joining, as Jason and I kind of spend our afternoon working on actually a curriculum for communication and authentic communication, and got done meditating and doing a few other things. We came back in and we're just finishing up our day and scrolling through some of the news and different things that we get information on in regards to all things life restoration, as it would be. We came across a video that caught our attention because it appeared to be coming from a Tony Robbins, or from a Tony Robbins group, and looked interesting. It had the title of authenticity on it, and so we clicked on it and listened to it. And the context of it is being authentic to yourself, being true to yourself, focusing on authenticity. But the part that came up as a question for us, as Jason mentioned, was just the part that of authenticity is your weapon of choice. And I've the more I evaluate and dig into how powerful communication is and how powerful word selection is, in the English language, or probably in any language, the more I pay attention to things, because words create word pictures, words have meaning, and they initiate an entire line of thought with people who are saying them and who are hearing them. And so anytime I start hearing phrases that involve battlefield, weapon, fight, anything like that, it always catches my attention, because of a lot of the work we've done on ourselves and with other people around their old story, and the old stories that are taught in so many different environments around life is a battlefield, life is a fight, you've got to get up and take on the good fight against whomever. Another word that I thought was interesting that I'd like to hear some feedback on from Vanessa, because I don't know what she means. I'm not going to try to jump in and see, I know what she means by what she says. I just am hearing the words that she's saying. And when I hear the word tribe along with that, because there was mention of the society and the people around you are the tribe, the culture is a tribe. All of that paints a picture that is counter to what we know today to be true or authentic. What we know to be true and today and authentic is that the idea that there is some great big villain of the world or of the universe is not true, and that the boogeyman's out to get you is not true. And that walking around with a world view that there is this unknown opponent that is out against you, out to get you, sets the person or human being up to be in a place of lack and defensiveness, because you're walking into whatever your environment is under the under the pretext that you will be attacked by someone or something. And so it was an interesting choice of words. It really, really got me thinking quite a bit about that. And leveraging one's own authenticity as a weapon to battle said opponent was another interesting kind of concept to kick around in my head as well. And again, I just know what comes into my head based off of my experience and the work that I've done with myself and the people that we work with. I'm not trying to, by any means, jump into her head and say what she means by it. But again, it's just an interesting perspective and use of words. So, that's what sparked this video. And Jason and I were having a great conversation about it. And we're like, hey, this would be great to share and be authentic about where we're at with it and the thoughts that we're having in the moment about that. And so, hence, we're online. And
yeah. So, communicate our information, right?
Yep.
That's what this is all about. So, what I hear when I listened to the video, I heard an idea, a mindset that resembled an old story that I believe that society as a whole continues to operate from, and that old story is this place of lack. This old story is that I want to be good, and the bad of whatever the world is holding me down from being all that I can be. And just so you know, Vanessa, we also are huge fans of helping individuals live out this life's best. Right? Would you be fair to say that? I mean, that I would have to say that that's probably my sole purpose in life is experiencing that for myself as well as helping other people experience it too. And so we're on this adventure with you, and we have embraced it completely, and we love to share our information with people, and we love to communicate. We love to say, did you hear what you just said?
Yep.
And we're not saying what you said was right, wrong, or indifferent. What we said is we heard something that we believe connects to the old story. And that old story does not... oh, sorry, I gotta turn this off. That old story does not allow us to experience all that this life is, because we get stuck in... operating from lack.
Right.
Right? And so the old story says is I'm not good enough, and I need to attack life or whatever it is that's trying to hold me down so that I can be all that I can be. And what we want to say is that we don't necessarily believe that that's 100% authentic, because if you're operating from a place of lack, if you're operating from the place of the old story, you cannot co-create the new story. You are simply repeating the old story. You're dragging it up to your current moment, and then allowing it to be your future.
Yep.
And so that the whole idea of attacking in weapons, I think, are a really interesting choice of words in regards to helping people break free from their old story, which is what, Tony Robbins is all about.
Yep. Having those breakthroughs. Well, it goes back to, if I view myself as in need of a weapon and that there's an opponent, it creates this separation, right? And understanding what we understand about existence and the core of what who we are, there really is the delusion is that there is a separation. That's one of the old stories, right? Is that there is a separation, that we are not all connected, that in some way there is this, there is another power over here, there is another force over here, there is us, right? And that we need to, the way to, quote, happiness or authenticity or whatever it is we're trying to get to that apparently we don't have in the moment, is to battle that off. And when we win, aka get to the top of the mountain, then we'll experience whatever it is that we didn't have in the moment previously. And so that's the old story. That's the falsehood that we're brought up on, is that, hey, I need to do something or become something or destroy something to be who I am.
Right.
And
to be free.
To
not be attached to whatever it is that's causing you the pain.
Yeah.
Which we oftentimes will place on other people or other things in the environment, which then again reinforces the fact that we have to go to war with our old story, or that we have to go to war with the suppression that's holding us down.
Yeah.
When we are our greatest enemy, when it is within us, we are holding ourselves down. And until we communicate authentically within ourselves and see things for what they are, and then unfold into the future of infinite possibilities, we will never be free of what we're trying to do.
Right.
Which is be the greatest creations, be the greatest people that we were created to be.
Yeah.
And so, I've listened to a lot of different speakers and had lots of different conversations about this, but I had never heard anyone go about it that way in regards to using the words. And these words, whether we accept it or not, words are power. Mm-hmm. They when we speak them, they have this frequency. And so if we are communicating authentically, then hold on a second. Should have probably turned that off before we started. If we're communicating authentically, then we are aware of the words in which we're using and how those words paint a picture for ourselves as well as the people around us. And so we want to say that being authentic is not a war. Being authentic, people may receive in the moment as confrontational because they're not used to hearing individuals speak authentically. But it is not a fight, a war. We're not using weapons to prove who we are. We don't need to do that. We need to operate from this place of abundance, from this place of acceptance, from this place of what is. Self-awareness causes gratitude. We don't have the ability to be grateful. And so when we are self-aware of ourselves and who we are, then we can operate out of this place of abundance and gratitude and all these different things, which allow us to then speak authentically to other people. It allows us to share our information without it being, if we're expecting people to respond to it as if they're going to fight us, then the way in which we deliver the information is going to be the same thing.
Well, that was my thing with the word weapon, is I just go back to, like, what are weapons used for, right? Weapons are used to defend yourself or to attack. And if I am positioning myself in that manner from the get-go, then that is the vibrational and the frequency that I'm putting off, right? Like, I'm putting off a line in the sand type of mentality, right? That says, like, hey, there's this side over here that's right, and there's this other side that is not in agreement with me, and anything or anyone that I view as on the other side of that line becomes my opponent. So then to your point, then my authenticity gets used as a weapon to defend myself or to attack someone. So how is that really authentic? Then it's no longer authenticity, really. It's just something I'm calling authenticity, because from the conception of what I'm trying to accomplish, it's not authentic.
Right.
It's that's what I said. Words are really powerful, and I think the important part is because there's so many people and there's so much information out there that positions things in that manner. There's a bad guy, there's a devil, there's a this, there's a demon out to get you. You are your own demons. There's you see it in the media. There's always an impending bad person out to get. Like, there's this whole thing of this hierarchy of good versus evil type of mentality with everything. And then it forces people to have this conditioning that I have to constantly be ready for this battle or this impending event. And then we walk around in that mode. And so, as we're talking about a topic like self-improvement or self-awareness or human productivity or whatever we want to categorize this at, or what label we want to throw
life
on it.
Improvement,
whatever label we put on this, whatever it is,
whatever.
That if we're positioning it in that way, it's very detrimental to the individual, because the word ties that they have back to those things are all tied back to an old story lie of how the world is, right? And the operating framework that goes along with that. And so, to me, that was just, it flew out. Like, there was like really, really odd wording. And again, it's not a dig. It's just I'm communicating authentically. Very odd wording, and I've been called aggressive quite often in the way I communicate, and there's some stuff I've worked on. But it was just a really odd choice of words to push a conversation and topic that you're having. And I get the heart behind it. I think I can see what she's trying to do there. Sure. That she has a passion to help people and do the right thing, and that's great. It's just, when people hear that, it's just, I don't know. It's a little bit.
It's almost like a double negative. It's like, here's my purpose. This is who I am. But then I'm going to use language that reinforces the old story. And ultimately, if we're not completely self-aware of who we are, where we came from, and we don't operate from that place, we're not listening to what we're saying, we're just speaking information, which is what a lot of people do this day and age. As you hear, mindfulness, awareness, self-awareness, presence, all these authenticity. We've been using that word for a tremendous amount of time until we've heard it being used in other environments. And what I know is that a lot of people like to share other people's information, which immediately makes it not authentic.
Right.
And so they're like, oh, I hear this buzzword, mindfulness, meditation, authenticity, all these different things. But if it's not used from a place of experience, strength, and purpose, then it just becomes someone else's information.
Right. Segmented.
And we're not listening to it because it's
most powerful part of what we've been practicing here is, the old question we joke about was, did you hear what you just said? And really playing that game with yourself, right? And saying, yeah, I did. And if any piece of that is rooted in the old story, then you cannot be in the new story. Right?
So true.
And so that's the dilemma of using wording like that is that whether it's intentional or unintentional, it's not about intention.
Yeah.
It's about what are you dragging into the moment. And if you're using the words that drag that into the moment, whether you intended to or not, you've taken something that was intended to be very authentic and made it something that's not. You turned it into something else.
On a personal level, though, that is when you're listening to yourself, those words are now, they become tools. They are simply indicators of whether you are operating in this new story or you're dragging your pain from your past, the old story, into this current moment. And so, again, self-awareness, mindfulness of just listening to yourself and speaking from a place of experience, strength, and purpose traditionally will allow you to stay in a place where you're not using words that are doing that.
Yeah, and I would just, like, a great question to ask, and even a question I asked myself when I heard that was, why does that rub me? Like, why did I catch that? Because there's something to look at there. And then, for anyone else that's watching this, you have to say, why would I be attracted to that? What is it about the wording that attracts me? Because there's a lot of stuff out there that we get attracted to. We love that idea of, it's a fight. I've got to be the champion. I've got to use whatever it is that the topic at the time is my shield and my sword. You hear that a lot. My helmet of da-da-da. And, now it's the weapon of authenticity. It's an old language. It's been used for millennia or 2 or 3.
Forever, really.
Yeah, and so documented.
Yes.
And so it brings us back into that place. So what is it that attracts, is so attractive? What would make that so attractive to us? What would make it so attractive to us to want to use it? And what would make that so attractive to us that we would want to hear that and it resonate with us? And those are great indicators. I said that's the fun part about looking at authentic communication is you get to ask yourself those questions. And you get to take that adventure. And it's wording like that really opens up a lot to the individual if they're willing to be courageous enough to take a look at themselves, because it starts and stops with me or you, whoever the person is.
Begins and ends with me. Begins and ends with you. So
so
it's that willingness to say, wait a minute, I just heard what I just said, and is there a different possibility that I'm not aware of in this current moment?
Right.
Have I limited myself to a belief that is shackling me to something that I continue to drag into the current moment from my past that is not allowing me to break free into the future?
That'll probably be our next life restoration podcast.
Yes.
The shackles of belief.
No doubt about it. But we just wanted to share the video. We like to have fun conversations, and when we see someone else that's speaking online and we have questions, we want to pose them. And if you guys have questions for us, please let us know, because questions create the connection. Communication creates the connection. We are relational beings, and we must share our information with each other, because that information, that action of sharing, ignites the opportunity for co-creation moving forward.
Yeah.
And so embrace that opportunity in life where you are fearful of what may be out there, so that you can break free into what is, and be all that you can be. But we appreciate you guys checking in, and we look forward to speaking with you soon. But until then, live authentically.